An Arizona Republican recently ran away from a reporter after being asked about a phony certification letter that was alleging that Trump had won the state in 2020. Now, of course, Donald Trump did not win Arizona. Nonetheless, a number of these phony certification letters went out and actually arrived in Washington, D.C. And so on Tuesday, Arizona State Representative Jake Hoffman, who was one of the Republicans who signed one of those phony certification letters, was basically questioned by a reporter who was just asking some simple questions about his role in that forgery. Take a look.
One, to what authority did you find yourself as an elector?
So in unprecedented times, unprecedented action is occurred. There is no case law, there's no precedent that exists as to whether or not an election that is currently being litigated in the courts has due standing, which is why we felt it appropriate to provide Congress and the Vice President with dueling opinions.
Did you have direction from anybody in doing this? Was it you, 11, yourself doing this, or did someone give you advice on the manner in which you can do it?
So I was one of the electors, right? I'm not in charge of the electors, so you would need
How did you hear about it?
You would need to ask the party chair.
How did you hear about it? How did you hear about the plan? Were you just told to be someone?
You would need to ask the party chair that
Yeah,
question.
but you're the person who received the call. You showed up, right? How did you know to show up that day?
So as I said, you can go ahead and ask the party chair the logistics of it.
Ask her how you got a phone call to go somewhere?
You're welcome to talk to them about the
Do you
logistics.
not know how you arrived at a place?
Thank you. I appreciate your
Do
question.
you really not
Thank
know
so
how
much.
you got a call?
Have a great one.
The other question, I was hoping
Gone. Yeah, a phone call. No, don't ask me about a phone call. No. That I claim to receive because, I did sign on to that letter to be an elector. Again, the guy's claiming to be an elector for Donald Trump as part of Donald Trump's supposed win in Arizona. And he's just like, oh, you're just going to have to ask the party chair about that one because I don't know anything, even though I claim to be an elector. Hilarious. Again, perfectly valid question. In fact, I give props to that reporter. Not only is his voice badass, let me just say that, a very strong voice. Great questioning. Excellent line of questioning, which is absolutely true. Again, if you were an actual elector, as you claim to be, then you would have been called into service and you would have actually been able to answer that question of who called you into service. But you weren't, and you knew it. You lied. That's all it was. It was a lie. It was a very obvious case of, oh shit, I just got caught. Run away. Gotta go. I'm out of here. and again, how this fits into the greater scheme of things is that I believe that these phony forged certifications were part of the Peter Navarro, Steve Bannon plan to try to steal the election. That was called the Green Bay Sweep. Right? And so what they were going to do is they were going to fake certify the state elections for Donald Trump. And there are already fake certifications that are out there in Arizona, Michigan, and Nevada. I have more information about those. But they basically wanted these electors in key states to go and vote for Donald Trump in the Electoral College and to keep Donald Trump in power. And they were going to, of course, use the lie, the big lie about voter fraud. The voter fraud, we got voter fraud, we got dead people voting, we got all these irregularities, and so we don't know who won. Oh my God, look at that. And so that all, of course, hinged on Mike Pence refusing to certify the election in front of Congress, which, by the way, is a ceremonial role. It wouldn't have affected anything. But since most people don't actually know that, especially Republicans, they would have used the time granted by Pence's refusal to push out propaganda. Again, Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro basically said that we were going to get about 24 hours of nonstop media coverage, to which, of course, pushed propaganda about the big lie. And so that propaganda, not necessarily directed towards the people, but directed towards state-level Republicans in these specific swing states, that would then recall their electors for Joe Biden and then push ones like Mr. Hoffman to go to Washington to certify the election for Donald Trump, even though he didn't actually win the election. He got less votes. So now, of course, thankfully that did not happen. But it could have. There are 100 congressmen. Peter Navarro claimed that there are 100 congressmen, Republicans, who were ready to support the Green Bay sweep. And of course, we find out as well that there were Republicans in the states that were prepped and ready to do so by putting out these fakes and these forgeries that many had been sent to the National Archives. In fact, we've got more details on that. In Michigan, a pro-Trump group sent one in and got rejected because it didn't have an official state seal. They could immediately tell, this is a fake, this isn't real. In Arizona, they tried using the state seal and got busted. They're like, this isn't an official document at all. You should cease and desist from using the official state seal on documents that are misleading. And in Nevada, the state Republican Party had sent the federal government documentation certifying the election for Trump, even though the state's real electors had already certified for Biden. In fact, here's an 8 News Now report. And by the way, this is a local Las Vegas CBS affiliate that reported, quote, the certificate, which looks much different than the official state one, reads, "We, the undersigned, being the duly elected and qualified electors for President and Vice President of the United States of America from the state of Nevada, do hereby certify 6 electoral votes for Trump." Now, of course, there were not the duly elected and qualified electors. That's just simply not true. An envelope accompanying the documents indicates that the packet was sent via certified mail to the National Archives from rural Minden, Nevada. Later that day, it arrived in Washington, D.C. on December 22nd. A few hours after the official state process had ended, a video accompanied a tweet from the Nevada GOP, the Nevada official Republican Party, that said, quote, "History made in Carson City." As footage showed Republican electors signing papers on a table, the event was live streamed on the Right Side Broadcasting Network of fake electors signing documentation that was a forgery, that were phonies, certifying the election for Donald Trump. This tweet said, "Our brave electors standing up for what is right and casting their electoral votes for Donald Trump." The state's party Twitter account later tweeted, "We believe in fair elections and will continue to fight against voter fraud in the Silver State." Oh, what they had did right there, that's the actual fraud. Those were fraudulent electors. That was not real. They were playing make-believe. They were cosplaying electors. Impersonation. That's messed up. That is super messed up. All right, so now, speaking of voter fraud, right? So you know how many cases of voter fraud they found in Nevada in the 2020 election? 10 possibly deceased voters that cast a ballot, and 10 people that had voted twice. Whoa! Oh my God! Wow! Oh my God! The voter fraud. There's so much voter fraud. Now you may remember I did a story probably about a month ago, maybe longer, but there was a woman, a couple, I should say, who alleged voter fraud, and actually it was a husband of a deceased woman, Rosemary Hartle. Now, Rosemary Hartle died from cancer back in 2017, before the 2020 election. Now, her husband, or widow, Kirk Hartle, claimed that somebody had stolen his wife's ballot and voted in her name. Oh my God, how could you do that? Must have been voter fraud. Now, Republicans picked up on that case. You know, people like Matt Schlapp, who talked about this. And like, look at all the voter fraud that's happening. Look at what happened to to the case of Rosemary Hartle. I can't believe the Democrats would go in and do something like that and steal somebody's vote who's dead. Look at all the dead people that are voting. Now, it turns out, we find out later on that Kirk Hartle was the one doing the fraud, intentionally using his wife's ballot to vote for Donald Trump, not Joe Biden. Oops. Oh no, look what happened. Oh no. Guys, that's where the fraud is. The fraud is on the right wing. That's what they keep doing. Now, I have one more fun thing. This is an interesting quote here. Now we go to Michigan. So one Republican official who was involved in the Michigan attempt to send in a phony certification is a woman named Kathy Burden. So now, according to a December 14, 2020 memorandum provided to the January 6th committee, Burden, a Republican National Committee woman from the state of Michigan, sent a forged GOP elector certificate to the U.S. Senate, the U.S. Archivist, the Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson's office of Michigan, and Robert Yonker, the Chief Judge of U.S. District Court for Michigan's Western District, according to reports by the Detroit News. The newspaper, who revealed this thanks to an open records request, went and asked the group, hey, why did you send in a fake certificate, or I'm sorry, a fake certification of an election that Biden had actually won? Now, again, that certification was for Donald Trump. So now here's what Burden said. Quote, I can't comment on anything like that. That was a long time ago. End quote. Wait. wait. I mean, I cannot comment. It just happened just such a long time ago. It was literally just over a year ago. I mean, seriously. Hey, but it was so long ago. Oh, you're trying to get me to answer questions from last year? Oh my God. That's too long ago. And I just can't answer it. What a ridiculous excuse. What a ridiculous excuse. Bullshit. He tried to send fraudulent election documents. Imagine if the other side had done this. Had even attempted something like this. You know what would happen? There would be investigation after investigation, worse than Benghazi, by the way. Every Fox News pundit, their hair would be on fire. Right-wingers would be calling for public executions. I kid you not, of any official. But you see, your Republicans do it, and they just walk away when you ask them about it. Or they say, I don't know, don't ask me about it. It was so long ago. The last election. This is where we are. No, look, I think people need to be held accountable for this. There needs to be some accountability here for attempting not to just undermine this election. It's not just about 2020, folks. No, they're undermining democracy as a whole. It's going to be every single election. From now on, you're going to always have this either attempt to steal it based on the nonsense of voter fraud or whatever excuse they're going to come out with. And so there has to be some consequences for continuously lying about these elections and really undermining our entire democratic processes.